I've been coming so it's 12 years this year. I've been coming more than 60 times, and I believe that every 2 or every 3 months when I come, there are new things. It's changing very, very fast. My wife is half Chinese. My son is working for Bank of China in Paris, and my daughter was graduated in Chinese language and culture in the United States. When I first come here was in 2005. I arrived in Shanghai the first time, and I was surprised by the level of, let's say, modernity in terms of buildings and organization and so on, because even if I knew about China, I didn't realize it was so much in terms of everything was big, you know, the buildings and so on, and even at the airport. It seems maybe a bit strange, but when you live abroad, even if you study China, and I studied in the 70s, so it was different in the 80s, when you come here only in 2005, then the surprise is quite big to see what's going on really in the field. And so on, it was constantly war until 1945, until Japan was beaten during the war. So this was really a very hard time for the Chinese. But it didn't adapt to the realities of the 19th century, to the Industrial Revolution and so on. So of course it was beaten by the foreign powers like the America and the Europeans and Japan and so on. It was also a transition period for China, which maybe lasted too long, but at least it brought China to 1949, I mean to the new China. If China is developing and reaches the stage of the level of a developed country, it means that it's good for the rest of the world also. Like we can explain that today China represents 30% of the world economic growth. So it means that if there's no China, there's no development in the world. I mean, no growth economically, and we all, either the United States, the developing countries, or Europe, we all need growth, economic growth, and the last few years were very difficult. So China has to stress this point that economic growth and development of China is good for the rest of the world also, not only for Chinese people. And what I was struck by when I came first to China, when I talked with the people in the street and I asked them, like taxis or other people, when you take some time, you ask them, what is your future? And they say, life is hard, but our children will have a better life because we are progressing. This is a huge difference, because even in Europe, if you ask today French people, German people, other ones, you ask them, they say our children's life will be worse than what we had for the last 30 years. People believe that the way that their country is going is the right way for the development, that they have hope, I mean having a vision for the future, because this is what we, in many countries, what we lack is a vision for a long-term future, not only for the next 2 years and the next election and so on, but for the next 30 years, 50 years. This is very important. Well, actually, I published 2 books about China's threat, and the second one was 2013, so it's more recent, in New York, in the United States. In the second book, in English, for the Americans, what I said at the end, in conclusion, I said, I don't believe in China's threat personally, but I believe China's future and China's relation with the world will be depending on how the world welcomes China's rise. So I believe, and that's why I was writing, especially for the Americans, you have to accept that China has national interest as well. It's a problem, for me, after 40 years working in several places, I believe the central issue is mutual respect. When you have mutual respect, whether in religion, politics, countries, you don't have problems. You just need to respect the others. I think the last 40 years of reforms have been obviously, historically, the sole example of such a fast development, economic and social development, and even political development. It never happened in history. We all know that. No country in the world in history has developed so fast. So, of course, there's a reason. I mean, we cannot say it's a miracle, because usually abroad we write about the China's miracle. It's not a miracle, because miracle in the religion means some given by God. I mean, it was not a miracle. It was the work of people. Good policies with good people working.